Bears Den with Drake Toll and Jamie Pickell for the Blonde Boys Power Hour.
Welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Happy Wednesday, everybody. And what a Wednesday it is. We're starting the show off big today. Got Briana Garcia joining us. She joined the NCAA for a podcast on just the other night, actually. College Sports Conversations is what it called, with the NCAA with Briana Garcia, Baylor Track and Field. And now she's with us today. That was Briana. So Monday night, you got to go on with the governing body of collegiate athletics, do a podcast on mental health and a little bit about you, your story, your season. Walk me through about how all this got set up.
Yeah, no, it was a really cool experience. So I am in a reporting and writing class at Baylor, and we got an opportunity to write an opinion piece and get put into the Baylor Lariat. So I wrote a piece about my experience during quarantine as a student athlete, specifically like when I had COVID. And I guess one of the people from the communications board at NCAA found it, and it's Mental Health Awareness Month. So they were really excited to, get a hold of me. They emailed me, and we just set up a time to do a Zoom interview and just have a conversation. But it was really cool. Like you said, I got to not just speak about my mental health during quarantine, but talk about my story that I've gone through during college. And it was just a really humbling experience. And, getting to share my story is amazing.
Briana, walk me through, for those that maybe weren't able to listen to the College Sports Conversation podcast or maybe haven't read your article, walk me through some of the struggles that you've overcome so far as a student athlete being at Baylor.
So my first semester of college, I played volleyball at the University of Central Florida, and I was supposed to go there for track as well. And at the end of our season, we had meetings with our coaches. And basically, they didn't want me to run track until my fifth year of college. And I'm a 400-meter hurdler. And that's really hard to just wait until I'm like 23 years old, 22 to run that race. So I just thought it was best to maybe get into the transfer portal. And Baylor had an opening spot. And I'm from Houston. So being able to be closer to home was amazing. But I knew I was going to have to drop volleyball. And that was really difficult. But it was the best decision I've ever made. And it was definitely a struggle coming into Baylor. During the winter semester, everyone already has their friend groups. And I had to train for just like 10 days. And then I went to my first indoor meet. So it was really hard, but I was able to overcome it. And like I said, it's been the best decision I've ever made. And Baylor University was the perfect place that I could have chose.
Briana, take me through, when quarantine hit, especially for an athlete. I don't think enough people get the perspective how you're in the middle of a season that you've trained for, and you're competing hopefully for a Big 12 championship, a spot in the national championship. There's so many goals and accolades you set for yourself, and then the bottom falls out. Everything's canceled, and your season's gone just like that. Really so abruptly. Take me through what that was like for you in an athlete's perspective.
Yeah, so at first, we just kind of talked about, my coaches were saying maybe just the first outdoor meet, maybe the second meet was going to be canceled, but we were going to be coming back because it was spring break. So I was like, okay, cool, I'll go home, train or whatever. And the next day, everything completely shut down. They canceled everything. And like I said, I'm a 400-meter hurdler. So my race is not in the indoor season, which we had last year. So I didn't get to run 400-meter hurdles. And it's been it was like a year and a half since I ran it when it came up this year. So COVID was really hard, but I really put myself in other people's shoes, and I was like, you know what, I don't have my sport. That is really difficult. But there's other people that didn't get the Olympic trials, that maybe even on a deeper level lost someone in their family. Like, COVID was really, really hard. Families lost their jobs, and I just had to tell myself, like, I'm perfectly fine. I'll be okay. I'll get my season next year. I just have to be patient. And it still worked out when I was at home, but it was really hard because I wasn't with my teammates. I wasn't getting motivated by my coaches. And, I wasn't doing something that I really loved, which is hurdling. But I knew the time was going to come around, and we just all had to fight through this virus. But the part that I struggled with a lot that I talked about was when I had COVID. So just a short story about it. I was direct contact. And when you're direct contact, you still have to quarantine. So I think it's a total of 14 days. I think it's changed to 10 now, but at the time it was 14. So when you're a direct contact, you have to get tested I believe it's like your 4th and 10th day. I could be wrong. So my mom was like, hey, if you're negative on your 4th day, you can come home, come stay with us. Cause it was really hard for me staying in my apartment. Like I was not feeling well. I was like in a mental, like depressive state. So it was really nice that I tested negative on my 4th day. So I went home, and quarantined in Houston. So while I was at home on my 9th day of my quarantine, I started getting symptoms. I lost my taste and my smell. I was really tired. I was getting out of breath really easily. So I went to go get tested, and unfortunately I had COVID, and then I had to add 10 more days onto that. So I was basically in quarantine for almost 3 weeks. And it was really hard. I had a lot of anxiety just thinking about, oh my gosh, like I'm not going to be in shape when I come back. All my teammates are working out every day, getting ready for the indoor season, and I'm going to come back being left behind. It was really hard, but it was nice to have my parents there. But definitely like my anxiety and depression were arising when I was at home.
Briana, along with that, I know I caught a lot of the podcasts you were part of with the NCAA, and you spoke outwardly about your faith and how that helped you get through it, and how Baylor's your ability to share your faith and be full in your faith at Baylor is part of what helped you through depression and anxiety. Take us through how big of a factor faith played in this.
Oh yeah, no, everyone at Baylor, the coaches, my teammates, even students, they're just so open about it, and everyone's there for you. And we have a small group that we meet once every week, and I've had the blessing to go to it and have other teammates back me up. And, I've had some struggles with my faith, but I've definitely grown, and just having other people at Baylor around you to uplift you and just to know that other people are there for you is amazing, especially in quarantine, in the midst of quarantine. But it really is such a different university because of the faith that it brings. I feel like a lot of private universities might not have those aspects, but Baylor really does. And there's so many resources around you that you can find. And it doesn't have to be through athletics. There's so many students, many great churches in the Waco area with small groups. So just getting myself involved in that really helped me with my mental problems and just talking with other people and being vulnerable.
Well, Briana, now coming into this weekend, you guys headed to the Little Apple in Manhattan, Kansas with the Big 12 Outdoors. You're on the cusp of the Big 12 Outdoors. Walk me through what you're looking forward to this weekend. It should be a big meet.
Oh, no, I'm really excited. So I actually have been injured. I strained my hamstring about 7 weeks ago, and this will be my first meet back. I've only ran one outdoor meet. So I'm nervous, but I'm super excited. And I know our team is really excited as well. We're on the bus right now, and the energy in here is just great. Everyone is just really laughing and just having a great time. We're all dressed up. But I'm really excited to see the competition. There's been a lot of record-breaking national jumps, throws, runs. Like, it's going to be a great meet. Hopefully the weather clears up a little bit. It's supposed to be storming, but I'm really excited to see what everyone can do, drop some times, PR. So I'm really excited.
Take me through, Briana, too. I mean, this is the first time you guys have competed here in a couple of weeks. From a coaching standpoint, with your coaches and what they put together, how does the team prepare to bring everybody to Manhattan, Kansas, and compete in the Big 12 Outdoor Championship? What all goes into this?
Just practice and health. We got to eat well. We got to drink, stay hydrated. Just really communicate with your coaches as well. I think one thing that I talked about in my talk is like, you have to be comfortable with your coach, and not just have one relationship with them. You have to have a deeper relationship. And, we've just been working on the little things, the small things like blocks, or for the hurdlers, we are just going over like the first couple of the 400-meter start. So we're comfortable at the beginning of our race. But yeah, just working on small things, nothing too major to get us ready. And when we get into Manhattan, we're going to get there later tonight, but tomorrow we'll have some practice to get in, work on some tweaks, just get ready for Saturday and Sunday.
Briana, along with that, a lot of these seniors, a lot of the graduates that are just now getting done with college from an academic standpoint, this will be one of the last meets that you get to share with those guys. What is that like?
It's definitely very bittersweet. It's crazy to think that I've been with most of these seniors for 3 years now, and it's just crazy how time has flown. But, whatever happens when they compete, I'm going to be there for them. and we're going to cheer them all on because you never know, this could be their last race, and they just got to go out there and glorify God and just run and have fun. And I'm really excited to watch them and cheer them on. It's really cool to be by their side for these past couple of years.
And Briana, along with it, you look at the women's side of Baylor track and field and what you guys have been able to do across the course of this season. It's been remarkable, even in the indoor. What makes this team so good this year?
Well, yeah, you were talking about Akira and Aaliyah. They won the 60-meter hurdles and the 800. That was such a cool experience watching that. I watched it on my computer. But yeah, I would say this year is just so different. You know, even at practice, like we just work really hard and we want what's best for each other. I think, you know, track is really hard because it is a team sport, but it's also individual. And sometimes, you know, you can compare yourself to others and it can kind of get to the best of you. But no, we want what's best for every single one of our teammates. And we're just ready to get after it and work hard this weekend.
Briana, last but not least, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you. I mean, you talked about mental health, anxiety, depression, and how you fought through that with faith and your family, and then Baylor University as well. For those that are still struggling with anxiety, depression, and just the uncertainties that COVID is still bringing to people across the country, whether they be athletes or not, what is your message?
So one thing that I really talked about was being vulnerable. I think if you have all these problems going on in your head is so strong and can make you think certain things that you never thought you can think before. But being vulnerable and opening up to people is really important. I think, you know, you can't do everything by yourself. We talk about that a lot in church. You got to have God. You have so many people that want, like I said, want what's best for you. So just be vulnerable, open up to other people, open up to yourself, let yourself allow to speak to others. It's really important because if you don't, you're not going to be able to get better. I think and it's really important to do that. So definitely being vulnerable and just anything is possible. And mental health is very, very, very difficult. Being a student, being anybody. So yeah, that was my main takeaway is just to be vulnerable with others and let other people come in and help you and just stay positive.
Wow. Briana, thank you so much for bringing your perspective to the show today. Before we get you out of here, I got a couple Bear Games questions for you. The first being one that I'm going to tailor toward you specifically. If you've got to stop that bus right now in the next town and take the whole team out to eat somewhere, where are you choosing?
The Czech stop. I think we're close to West.
Beautiful call. Beautiful call. Check stop locked in. Number two, Briana, we've been talking the last couple of days. You know, Baylor baseball had a 17-run inning on Sunday. Just a huge, huge display for that team. Talking to people about their greatest individual athletic achievements. What's the one game, the one meet where you just really outperformed what you expected and really showed out?
It was probably my opening meet in indoor. The first time I ever did our 600 yards. I was really nervous because it's a super hard race, but I surprised myself and finished a lot quicker than I thought I was going to be.
Lock that in too. Thank you, Briana, for not just the Bear Games, but bringing perspective on anxiety, depression, your story, what you went through. And I know it was an honor for you, and to get to see a Bear represented by the NCAA across social media was great for us. And congratulations on all your success, and keep going. I love this. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Absolutely. Again, that's Briana Garcia, Baylor track and field team, joining the show today to talk about her anxiety, depression, her fight with that, and being able to overcome that. Baylor track star, and join the NCAA for a podcast live the other night across social media with the governing body of college athletics when we